Today we have a fantastic guest. We have Amalia from the Family Business Place. She's got a massive event coming up next week, which we're going to talk about, but also get some insights into how family businesses are faring during this situation. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road. Hi, and welcome to Wednesday at 4:30. We have got to the end of the day, and again, it's totally okay to bring a beer with you to this show. It's absolutely the right time, I feel. It's kind of we've survived the day. We are going to be talking to Amalia in a second, but again, any questions, any bits that you want to throw out there, please do chuck it in the chat. We're going to see. I think we're on Facebook. We are also on YouTube. So any comments, please do chuck them in there. They'll filter through to me, and I can feed them back to Amalia. So without further ado, let's introduce Amalia. How you doing?
I'm all right, Luke. How are you?
I'm very well. Is it okay? You can see me okay at this point?
No, I can't.
Okay, that's a bad sign. Okay, I will try and work out the technical bits whilst we talk. So just give me a quick update. So introduction firstly to who you are, what you do, just for the viewers that haven't come across you yet.
Sure. So I'm Amalia Brightley-Gillott. I'm Managing Director of Family Business Place. And we are based in Kent, but we're a national network for the leaders of family-owned businesses. So it does what it says on the tin, really. If you run a family business, it might be a startup, it might be a third generation, it might be 15 generations. But if you work with your family, then we run this amazing membership where we can help you and support you and promote you.
Amazing. And you guys do some incredible work, and we're going to talk a bit more about your summit coming up next Thursday, which is really exciting. I just wanted to point out as well that because of the longest name, the name card underneath your screen doesn't quite cover it, so I can only apologise. I
had that problem at school. Don't worry.
Okay, good to know. We're going to have to update our design. I'll feed it back to the design team. So when we're talking about kind of family businesses, how are they faring? Because we were briefly chatting pre-show around, ironically, because of the lockdown, they're able to potentially be together, and actually that might help their kind of productivity.
Yeah, so we're sort of living and breathing it because we are a family business. And because at the moment I live with my mum and my sister and my husband, we can all carry on going to work together because we're all still in the same household. And a lot of our members have got that as well. They might run manufacturing units, warehouses. And a lot of them are saying, hi, family members are on the factory floor today, keeping operations going. So that's an upside of being a family business.
And how is it going? I mean, obviously you have a huge number of businesses in your network. Give us an overview of the general kind of sentiment. I know it's difficult because everybody's in quite different kind of places, but what are the conversations that you're having? I mean, is it more highs than lows, more lows than highs? How's it looking?
It's I think in the first week or 2 weeks, I think like probably every business owner out there, it was quite paralysing. No, I don't think anybody on this earth has been through something like this before. Many family businesses who have spanned generations might have been through, world wars and great recessions and all sorts, but I don't think anyone's seen anything like this. So for our members, we've got, 150 around the UK, all industries, all sizes. So for a lot of them, the first couple of weeks was just like, okay, what on earth are we going to do? How are we going to figure it out? Particularly before the furlough scheme and the CBILS, and now we've got the bounce back loan. I think people were just thinking, I don't know what we're going to do here. But as we've sort of relaxed into this new normal and this new way of working, I think people are starting to figure it out. The furlough scheme takes a huge pressure off. Some of our manufacturing members are starting to open up units again with a sort of a skeleton team. And get business going again,
Yeah, it sounds positive. I don't know if you've obviously there's a big update on Sunday from the government as well. I mean, that could go, I guess, either way to kind of help that that recovery, or to a degree put another sort of dent in the confidence for people as well.
Yeah, it's really hard because you're trying to juggle, people's health and then people's livelihoods.
Yeah.
And the two single most important things to us. And I would not want to be Boris or the Chancellor for all the money in the world.
Yeah, no, I think it's two bad decisions, isn't it? And it's kind of
absolutely
one of those. And I think I don't know if have you seen about this a parallel problem as well that they're talking about, where there's obviously the kind of the sort of the death rate that's associated with the current pandemic, but then if the economy is so bad long term, then again there's the secondary impact on as well, which is a pretty doom and gloom. So let's move quickly beyond that, because there's so much doom and gloom out there. I kind of want to try to focus on the sort of the positives where we can, because I think regardless of that, there's still the more positive we can be about it, the quicker we get out the other side, whatever that other side looks like. You doing a lot of work, obviously, with your kind of your members, and I guess leadership comes up quite a lot as well in terms of some of the challenges that the owners, particularly that you work with, kind of face. Could you give us kind of insights into some of the conversations that you've been having with those guys?
Yeah, so I think if you're an independent business, whether you're family owned or you're an entrepreneur or you're like a large independent, when you're running your own business, everyone is looking to you for the answers. And particularly in family businesses, where very often your name is literally above the door, you've got to think about Timpsons, that is tough as a leader. And, even on a good day, that's a lot of responsibility. It's very stressful. One of our members employed 3,000 people. Oh. So can you think about the livelihoods that are on his shoulders at the moment? So as a leader, that's really tough. And I think once you've got all the practical things out the way of the furlough and the loans and all that sort of stuff, now it's time to think about, okay, what does it mean for me as a leader? What do I need to do? How do I dig deep and put one foot in front of the other every single day to lead my business and my team through this? Because everyone is looking at me. Yeah. And that takes a lot of mental strength. I run my own business. We're tiny by comparison to lots of businesses out there. You run your own business, Luke. And it's stressful because we're the ones that go home at night and lay awake in bed thinking, I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. It's hard. It's hard.
Well, I would echo those thoughts. It's been some late nights and some challenging conversations about kind of what to do next. What sort of advice do you can you offer to kind of leaders in those kind of positions?
So I think, when you run your own business, I think we're probably all guilty of worrying about everyone else first. And particularly, and I'm a mum, I've got a 3-year-old Hendrix, and I'm always worried about him and the rest of my family first. And that translates to our business. I'm worried about, our staff and our team, and are they happy and are they satisfied in their work? And actually, it's times like this where you need to, a bit like when you're on an airplane, you need to put the oxygen mask on you first. And you need to figure yourself out first. And you might need to retrain. You might need to learn some new stuff. You might need to make those hard decisions, but you need to be kind to yourself before you can worry about everyone else. Because if you're not okay, the rest of the business is not okay.
Yeah, I like it, except for the disaster analogy of a plane going down. That's the only bit that I don't like about that analogy.
Let's not labour on that point. But I think so many of us who run businesses are guilty of putting everyone else first. But you have to look after your own mental health and well-being. Even if it is just, your exercise or your diet or your meditation or whatever it might be, and invest in yourself, in your own training. So if you're not comfortable with the finances or the marketing or the sales operations, take some time to get to know all that stuff so that you can make the right decisions, the difficult decisions. But you need to look after yourself as a leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, if I remember correctly, you were doing some runs before, weren't you? You were training for a marathon, I believe.
Please don't remind people, Luke.
I think you did. And how's the running going now? Are you still doing that?
Sure. So I was taking the Edinburgh
I'm just
marathon,
making sure that you're taking your own advice here. I'm just making sure that you're doing.
I was supposed to be doing the Edinburgh Marathon, but unfortunately it got postponed till next year. Yes. So, I am still doing running. And you know what? My mum, bless her, she's 61. And last year she decided to run 52 park runs, so one every single week to raise money for Alzheimer's research. So I sort of went along and helped G her up, and we did a massive run last week. And it's just time away, isn't it? And you hear this thing all the time. You have to work, on the business, not in the business. But if you can get some headspace and you can start thinking that's where the best ideas come from.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin, thanks for the comments in chat. And I think your sister there, Olympia, she is chipping in as well. Good support. The family are there supporting in everything you do, which is good to see. So tell me a bit about the event next week, because obviously you're normally focusing on family businesses, but I think this is more around independent businesses, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so we, as well as being a membership, we run fantastic events up and down the country, normally in person.
Yeah.
And we just thought, okay, well, we don't want to, because that's where the magic happens. It's when family business owners meet, and we do want that to stop. So we launched a virtual summit, which is happening next Thursday, the 14th. But you're right, it's not just about family businesses, it's about anyone that runs an independent business. So it's called Independence Day, and it doesn't matter if you're a tiny, high street shop, or if you're a tech startup, or if you're a large third generation construction firm. If you run your own business, it's going to be amazing, because it's not the doom and gloom. Yeah. It's about, inspiration, motivation, and we have got some awesome speakers. So I mentioned Timpson's earlier. So we've got Sir John Timpson, and he started with nothing. He now has 2,000 stores, 5,000 employees. He knows a thing or two about running your own business. We've got Dane Gadia, who started Virgin Money with Richard Branson. We've got some dodgy tech geek called Luke Quilter talking about transformation.
I have to say, I'm like, as I saw the lineup increase, I was like, I don't have any titles. I'm just Luke Quilter. There's nothing next to my name.
Have you not got a gong? Have you not got an OBE or a CPE or a...
No, I don't. I had, there's some cool stuff I've done. I'm not, it's all right. I've done some stuff, but I don't have the cool kind of MBE, OBE, DAME or whatever. I have nothing like that. It's just me. Just you.
It's Luke from Kent.
Yeah, that'd be me. I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be a really, really cool event. And actually, I've got a BA apparently. Someone has reminded me of that. I should put that. Yeah. No, I don't think it's worth celebrating, to be honest with you. It wasn't. It was an okay university. It wasn't the best one. But I was going to say, Olympia, if you're there with a link to the event, please do chuck it in chat, or one of my guys, if you've got the link to hand, if you can chuck it in the chat, that would be great. So if anyone else is listening and wants to find out more, they can check it out on your website.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. No pressure, Olympia. Get it right.
Quickly, go.
But I think the point is, if you run your own business, it can feel really lonely, can't it? Sometimes you just feel like, okay, nobody else surely can be going through this. And the whole idea of the virtual summit is to say that even the biggest of brands, those household names, even they were sat at the kitchen table one day thinking, how on earth are we going to get out of this? Or what are we going to do? Or the sleepless nights. And the point is, you don't have to make the same mistakes. You don't have to spend weeks and months trying to figure something out for yourself when all of these amazing business people have gone before you and done the hard work. Yeah. They've got some real secrets to success and some great, ways to spark new ideas. And that's what we're trying to encapsulate, the magic of a real in-person event, and we're going to do it online. So amazing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
That's awesome. And actually, I don't know how much of the sort of virtual networking you've done so far. So have you been to any at all, Amalia?
I've done a few.
Yeah, I've been to one, and I thought it was actually pretty good. I was quite surprised at actually how well it went. I thought I was kind of quite skeptical about kind of how it might pan out, but actually it's been really, really positive. So maybe even my kind of next question is, what happens as we move out into what we're calling kind of the recovery, into then the new world? Like, what happens when we get out the other side? Do you think you might continue more of these events, perhaps? Obviously, I guess we'll find out how it goes next week. But
I think when you run your own business, networking is pretty core to everything that you do, in its formal and informal capacity. And I think people will crave getting out and just, seeing the whites of people's eyes again and shaking hands and having a good old natter over a coffee. But what I have learned, and lots of people say this to me, is how effective you can be networking online. There's no sort of chit chat. You just get straight to the point. Yeah. Particularly if you have a free Zoom account and you only get 40 minutes.
That's true. Yeah, that does put some time pressure on.
And I kind of like the fact, we've all been stripped bare. I've seen the inside of your front room. I saw your daughter the other day. I've seen people in their pajamas, and I feel like we've all gone back to just being good, normal human beings.
Yeah.
And sometimes in business, it's a bit of a facade, isn't it? And you rock up in your suit, and I think it's really nice now that we've sort of seen inside people's lives and we can just talk on a really human level. And I hope that we don't regress back to what it was before, because that would just be completely in vain. We wouldn't have learned anything. So I think there have been some fantastic things come out of this.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, and it is this bizarre world that we live in, where suddenly, you know, the people I speak to, sort of like, you know, top end CEOs that I'm sort of like, and again, you see their front room or their dining room or whatever, and it's like their kids coming in, their dogs jumping on them and stuff like that. And it is a very human, you know, situation that we're kind of in. And I agree. Hopefully some of this carries forward.
And also people being quite willing to admit that they need help. So I think a lot more of that recently, and some amazing people are offering that help for free. You know, we work with law firms and accounting firms who've just said, tell your members, just ring us and we'll sort it out for them. And I think, you know, it's okay to say I'm stuck, or I don't know what to do, or, you know, I have no idea how to do that. And my mum and my sister will laugh at this, but I've got a phrase that you don't have to get it right, you just have to get it going. And I think that's so true now. All these businesses that have had to pivot, you know, these fruit wholesalers that are now delivering to people's houses, and, you know, it's not perfect. Of course, the website's going to crash. They're not going to get the orders right 100% of the time. But you don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going. Don't be scared to just give something a go.
Absolutely. No, totally agree. And we're doing all around what we call the re-startup mentality, because it feels like a startup scenario. You've obviously kind of been there, been through it. And it's like, it feels a lot of, you know, there's some differences, admittedly, but there's so many similarities, and that failure and that kind of not being afraid to do that and then move on kind of really quickly is super important. So obviously, so next week, I know you're going to be tuning, I think my time's 10:45. I know that's going to be your top of your list, but outside of me, who's the one you're looking forward to kind of the most?
I think I've heard John Timpson speak before, and what I love about him is he has got a hugely successful business. Like I said, 5,000 employees, I think. But he really sticks the middle finger up at sort of, you know, business textbook stuff. He has a book called Upside Down Management, and his sole purpose is to provide his customer with a great service. So his staff have complete autonomy to, you know, make things right with customers. If they need to give away a free pair of, you know, shoe resoling to make things right. And I love that customer centric element of, well, it's not even an element, it's the core of what they do. And then, you know, things like 10% of their employees have a criminal record, because they are so passionate about retraining people who've been in prison. And they're things that most people would just really shy away from. And he's basically a big, you know, FU to your bog standard business. And it's so inspiring. So when he interviews for people, he doesn't have a whole long list of questions. He has a sheet with 5 things on it. How firm was their handshake? How nice is their smile? How clean are their shoes? And 2 other things. I can't remember what they are. He said, because if I know those 5 things about a person, I can train them to cut keys. I can train them to resole shoes, but I cannot teach them to be fantastic customer-facing people. There's little things like that, really, that you can just learn so much from. He's got, 40 years experience in business, and, you know, and that is invaluable, completely priceless. That's
very cool. I wonder how that's going to operate in a virtual environment in terms of the handshake. But assuming it's going to be a different set of 5 questions, I suspect, on his sheet.
How good your Wi-Fi?
I'm going to ask that question. I'm going to pose that question. If he has to do interviews remotely, what questions would you now ask? But
amazing.
No, that's really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. So what are the sort of things been going on in a kind of the personal life? How are you kind of balancing the work and kids as well?
Well, the great thing about being a family business is that we sort of share childcare duty, so that hasn't changed. So Hendrix is having the time of his life, because he gets his nan on one day, his granddad another day, his auntie on another day, being Nick on another day. He's loving life. But it helps me, because we talked about, you know, mental strength and headspace, and it's really hard if you're a working parent to try and focus on growing a business and looking after a team and getting out of this, you know, pickle that we're in, and feeling like, okay, I haven't got time for my children, I'm not doing the best by them. Luckily, he's not at the point of homeschooling yet. We've got a member, and she jumped on a call that she's trying to homeschool 5 children and run a family business. I mean, that's extraordinary. Hats off to her. So yeah, it's good here. It's lovely. I'm really, really lucky. You know, we live in a nice house in Kent with a nice big garden. So we've got a bit of space. But I've got friends who are struggling. I think, you know, so every now and then I get a WhatsApp or I'll send a WhatsApp saying I've just had a really crappy day. Does anyone want to talk? And that just goes back to saying it's all right to say you're struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's well. I'm glad to hear.
I don't know if men or women are better at doing that. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I've got some mates who are. I think. Well, actually, no. Yeah, they weren't. I don't think they were so overtly saying that they were struggling. Yeah. I think it was more physically. You could just look at them on the Zoom chat. You're like, mate, you look a little bit like worse for wears right now. But I think some people are kind of leaning into it. I've got friends just growing massive beards at this point in time, just because I think they're kind of leaning into the idea of isolation and kind of turning into kind of like castaway scenarios.
It's a shock to the system when they come out.
Yeah, definitely. What so what in terms of the content you're seeing kind of pushing out, there's some businesses that you've seen doing some. I mean, obviously you mentioned kind of Timpson's. What other businesses doing like a really strong job out there at the moment, sharing some kind of awesome ideas and content that you could kind of shout out?
Well, there's quite a few. So I follow obviously quite a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of the the Dragon's Den type people who they've grown something from nothing. They may have lost everything along the way. They may have been rock bottom, but they've come out the other side. So actually someone I've been in contact with recently is a lady called Holly Tucker, and she founded notonthehighstreet.com. Phenomenal success story. But now she runs a business and they've got a campaign called SME SOS. And they're just sending out amazing content to help the owners of small businesses.
Awesome.
And what I love about her is that she shows up every day. It's not like just a sporadic here and there. It's not like really rigid scheduled stuff. She just rocks up every day on her stories, on her lives. And I think if you're a small business owner, it's that feeling part of a community and that someone is there in your corner. So she's amazing.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and I just think anyone... but one of my role models is a lady called Michelle Moan, who founded Ultimo. Okay. But she's doing Q&As live on Instagram. Ask me any question and I will answer it for you. And it goes back to that thing of learning from other people's mistakes or learning other people's secrets of success, that you don't have to try and figure it out yourself. Yeah. So there's some amazing people out there who themselves have got businesses that may be struggling or in trouble, trying to figure out technology in their own home when before they had a whole team. There's some brilliant people out there.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to tag those guys in and give them a shout out, because I think it's a really important time to find some of those really awesome pieces of content, because I think that the tricky bit is there's a lot of noise out there right now. There's a lot of stuff being pushed out, and it's trying to find the ones that are doing a really awesome job. So we'll kind of tag those guys in. I'm still waiting for this link, by the way, Olympia. I haven't seen that, and I can see that your mum is now on the chat as well. She's reiterated your you don't have to get it right, you just have to get going. So you seem to have won them over with that one.
So basically StanleyBusinessPlace.com.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Come on, guys, right? Come on, you've got to be standing by with this sort of stuff. And a question from your mum was, how do you see the rise of women entrepreneurs as well?
Yeah, so it's an interesting one, because in family businesses, there was a piece of research that we did with Synergy Bank that said men are twice as likely to take over the family business as a woman. And I find that on one hand astonishing, but on the other hand not surprising, because, at the time when you've maybe graduated university, you've had your first job, and then you think, okay, now I'm thinking about starting a business, it probably coincides with the time you want to start a family as well. And I know that's really tough. I had Hendrix 3 years ago. I suffered from really bad postnatal depression. I ended up having to take a whole year off, and then had to I came back as managing director. And so in terms of mental strength, that takes a lot. And I think that's really hard for women. But now I hope that men have had a glimpse into what it's like to be, raising a family and trying to get work done. And there are some phenomenal guys out there that are doing amazing stuff too. And I just think now, I think we have a mutual respect for each other. And it's not just the role of women to make more noise, and it's not just the role of men to let them. So if there are any women out there who are running businesses or thinking about it, read a book called Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, who's the CEO of Facebook. And it is just brilliant, and it's so inspiring. And I think particularly for family businesses and independent businesses, women have something, they have some skills and some characteristics that make them brilliant business leaders. Different, but brilliant. So,
Absolutely, that's a crazy statistic, I have to say.
Yeah,
But
no.
I guess timing is probably one of those key factors, isn't it?
Absolutely,
Really
absolutely.
challenging.
When we had a baby, Nick could go back to work after 2 weeks, but I physically couldn't. I'd grown a
Yeah.
small human being inside me,
Yeah.
so it's really hard. But I think if you have the support network around you and you ask for help, that's what's important. When I had postpartum depression, I was really reluctant to ask for help, and no one ever spoke about it. And I think if you can talk about it and you can help someone else, then you've done a good job.
Awesome. I've just noticed the guys have now posted the link as well, and that is not that is us, by the way, posting your link. So the guys are on it. You need to have a word with Olympia.
You're fired.
Olympia, what are you doing? Come on, just throw it in the next room. So anyway, we're going to take a quick pause because I can't believe the time has flown by, but I need to promote this. We have launched a new video today, which is we're kind of back on the road with our Giant Wednesdays. So here's a quick preview of what that looks like, and then we'll come back for some final questions. So that is our Giant Wednesdays. We are now back for season 2. Yes, we've made them seasons. And the first one is launched today with Sam Caesar, and that's talking about SEO versus PPC, pros and cons of. I've seen Sam in the chat today as well, but it's a really cool video. And yeah, I think it's already ranking organically as well, which is pretty cool. So we're happy with that. Again, we have like 3 minutes left. And can you see my screen, Amalia, properly? If we try the game, is it not going to work? Okay, we'll give up on the game, which means that Liam from last week is still in the lead with a pitiful score of 2.
I could have smashed that.
You could have definitely beaten that one. It was a disaster. I don't know what he was up to, yeah. So we'll kind of forego that. I guess maybe just some sort of final kind of points around any advice that you would kind of give to businesses in these kind of time periods. Is there any kind of bits that you're finding that you're talking about more than kind of most in the conversations that you have?
Yeah, so a lot of people are still feeling uncomfortable about selling and uncomfortable about marketing. And I had one firm, they're landscape gardeners, and she said I don't, and I'm allowed to go into people's gardens and we're allowed to do that stuff, but I don't feel comfortable. Because people are judging us for trying to still sell our services. And I sort of said, but, if your business goes under, think of all those jobs that are gone in the local community. If the government has said you're allowed to do it and you take on board all of the social distancing rules, then you're perfectly entitled to market and sell your business. We've got to start ramping things up slowly but surely. And then I said to her, and it's not just about selling, it's this thing about showing up. So building a community, still keeping in touch with your customers and your clients. And I do have another cheesy phrase, and it's if you bring value to them, they will bring value to you. So that's what we're trying to do with our members and to small business owners. If we can help you and we can inspire you and motivate you and give you good practical stuff, then one day you may want to become a member of Family Business Place, or you may want to come to one of our events. But if we can bring value to you with no ulterior motive, just because we want to do the right thing, then one day that may bring value to us. But I think you have to be authentic and you have to be genuine in today's world, because if you are not, you will get found out really, really soon. So just be yourselves. Stay true to the values, particularly in family businesses. They're built on strong foundations. And just be who you are, and people will embrace that.
Love it. That is a fantastic summation, and I couldn't agree more. That is some fantastic advice for everybody there. Guys, we're gonna call it there and say thank you very much to Amalia for being a part of the show, and hopefully you'll be able to join next Thursday for the summit. At what time is it kicking off, Amalia?
It starts at 10. And then Sir Luke Quilter is on.
Oh, let's not get ahead of ourselves here, people. Come on, one step at a time. I thought there's a few years a bit away from that. I'm gonna have to really pull my finger out to earn that one. But yeah, we will try in the meantime. But thank you very much for being a part of the show, Amalia. You've been an absolute superstar. And